and take a look at the event, you can certainly do that. We'll make sure that you have access to that and some other additional resources. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to welcome you this afternoon to our new student orientation presentation. We are very excited to have you here to begin your first course with us at Brookline College. Some of you may have worked long and hard to get to this point, and we applaud your decision to further your education. We do recognize this might be the first time that you've ever attempted to learn online, and with that being the case, we want to make sure that we provide the best possible support to you, and that's what this presentation is all about. In today's agenda, we'll talk a little bit about the welcome email that you may have already received, how to log in. We'll look at your first course and do a little bit of navigation there. We'll look at the syllabus for your first course, and we'll explain where to find it. We'll talk about the quiz that you'll see when you get logged in on Monday, touch on textbooks and how to access those, also how to get help. And then we'll kind of close up with next steps and questions and answers. And again, just for your own purposes, if you do have a question or a technical problem while we're going on the presentation, if you click on the menu bar, you should see an area where you can actually enter questions into chat. For some people, that screen at the top or at the bottom, depending on where it appears, it should be a black bar. And you might see mute, start video. You might see a more button on the far right side, or you may just see chat. If you see more, you should be able to click on chat to go ahead and ask a question or ask for help. So first of all, one of the most important things that we want to call to your attention is, as a new online student, you should have already received a welcome email. The welcome email should have arrived from Lynette Marmaleo. Some of those were received already. It's possible some of you haven't got it yet. The email example on the right-hand side of our screen is there just so you know what to look for. So essentially, the key pieces of our welcome email include things like our start date. Classes start with us on March 23rd, 2020, and your course is actually loaded the evening before, so at midnight. And then you are introduced to Lynette here, and she will be your student service advisor. One of the other things that's really important here is we talk about how to actually, thanks Lynette, thanks for coming online, we appreciate it. One of the other things that is important to note is that we use some terminology that might be new to you. You'll notice in the middle of the email we have some steps, and one of the steps in bold says how to log into your Moodle classroom. And you might wonder what Moodle is. Moodle is the tool that we use online. It's called a learning management system, and it's how you actually get into your class and do your coursework. Okay, so one of the things that you'll notice is that we give you a link to go to, which is online.brooklinecollege.edu. And we try to keep it really simple for you to get in. Your username is going to be your personal email address. That would be the email that you gave at the time of enrollment. And then what we're going to have you do is click on the blue lost password link under the login button. Now, on my screen here, I show it. We're going to actually look at it online here in a few minutes, but that's what the email that you initially receive. I also want to point out that that email may have ended up in your junk mail or your spam folder. So if for some reason you can't find it, I have great news. You don't even have to use the welcome email. We can walk you right through it now or coming up here as we talk about how to log in. So what you should see on your screen now is just a screenshot of how students actually get logged into our classroom. For a couple of tips, first of all is we do ask that you use Chrome browser. That is the best browser to use to get into class. We're going to ask you to go to the Moodle page, which is actually right here on our screen. That is online.brooklinecollege.edu. If you have the opportunity to go ahead and do this while following along with the presentation, that's fantastic. It's okay if you can't though. Again, we're here to support you today. We're here tomorrow, and we'll be here on Monday as well to help if you need assistance when you're ready to get in. But anyway, what we're going to have you do when you're ready is you will go to the homepage of Moodle here, online.brooklinecollege.edu, and you will simply click on Lost Password. The reason why we're asking you to do that is we're going to actually have you do a password reset. So your password is something that you alone know and that you feel comfortable with. When you click on Lost Password, you will come to a page that will have you do a search by email. You'll simply type your email address in and hit search. And then an email address is actually sent directly to you. The email contains easy instructions to confirm and complete your password change. However, we do know sometimes people don't receive emails or what have you. We have a listing here of the phone number and our online student services folks if you should have a problem resetting your password, okay? Now, I wanted you to be able to see what the email looks like when the student receives or does or completes a password reset in the system. This email actually comes instantaneously. From the time that you request it, you should have that sitting in your email box very quickly. What you'll notice is that there is a link inside the email for you to click on that's going to take us back to online.brooklinecollege.edu, but it's actually going to be a page where we're going to create a new password. But I need you to know that this temporary link only lasts 60 minutes. So when you do the reset, make sure that you go in right away and get your password changed. If for some reason it slips your mind, you walk away and you forget, you can always just do a new reset. So it's not difficult, something easy to do. What you'll find is when you click on the link, you will land on the page you see on the screen now. And here is where you'll enter in a new password. You'll enter it in twice because we want to make sure that you typed it in right both times. And then you're going to click Save Changes. And once you're in, it'll actually take you directly inside of your classroom page. Again, this is Moodle. It's our classroom learning management system. Now, there are a couple of important tips that we'd like to recommend when you go about logging in for the first time. The first one is that typically Chrome will ask you if you'd like to save your username and password. I would recommend that you do this so that every time you want to go to online.brooklinecollege.edu, it will automatically log you in and save you from having to type in your username and password. So once you've done this, the other thing that I strongly recommend that you do is click on the star in the Chrome bar. This is an address bar. And that actually then saves a bookmark. That bookmark is called Welcome to Brookline College. It will save the address in the bookmarks bar, and then you can simply click Done. Now you have the page available, and you have your password saved, so you never have to remember. We definitely have support here for you, though. If for some reason, you get a new computer or you want to log in from a different device, that is totally okay. We are here to support through that process. Just remember, you can always reset your own password by entering in your email and following the links. You can always reset your password, but if for some reason you really feel like you need additional assistance, we do have technical support available by telephone. We have a portal available to you, and we have chat right from your home page. So you'll be able to contact us in a variety of ways. And if you look here, this is what our support looks like. There's a tech support link at the top of our page, and you can actually go into the support portal where it shows you we do 24 hours a day email support. We have set hours for chat support. It's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. And we also do phone support 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. Those are Monday through Friday. So know that email is available Saturday and Sunday. If you're having an issue on the weekend, you're going to be directed to do an email for login issues, okay? Now what we want to talk a little bit about is how to actually navigate your course. When you first get into your course, you'll notice there's a lot going on in here, and I want to kind of give you a high-level overview. When you first log into your course, you should see, and you'll either be in SS100 most likely or Med A. When you get into your course, you should see the course summary right in the middle of the page here. If for some reason you don't and you're not sure where you are, you can always click on course summary over here on the left-hand side. But what I wanted to point out is you'll see that there is a top navigation bar and there is a side navigation bar. The place where you'll be doing the majority of your work, though, is going to be in the middle of this page, and we're going to do a live demo to show you what that looks like. First things first, though, just recognize there's a course summary at the top, and oftentimes this is where your professor or your instructor will show their announcements. Here's something that says, welcome to SS100. Now, your course starts actually March 23rd. You'll notice this one says February 17th. That's okay. It's just a sample. What we're going to do next is I want you to scroll down on the page, or imagine yourself scrolling down the page, and you'll see that we do have a course syllabus in your class. You can actually click on that course syllabus. It is a link, and that will take you to your course syllabus PDF. A PDF is a document in the system that you can actually download or print. You can even just stay in the classroom and scroll through and read that item as well. I recommend that you either download or print it, because you may want to refer back to it. You can have it as a piece of paper printed out on your desk. You can create a folder just like you would have in a face-to-face classroom. So it's something that you'll be using. And incidentally, one of the very first things that we're going to ask you to do come Monday is actually do our course syllabus quiz. Wanted to show you where that was as well. So once you've reviewed the syllabus, you're going to click on the syllabus quiz link. As you can see, that's right underneath the course syllabus here in the image that we have saved, okay? So that quiz is pretty quick. When you're finished with it, it's auto-graded, so you should get a quick grade on that. And then, wow, congratulations, you could have your first assignment done in just a few minutes of being in class. There are some other items that we wanted to show you. Let me go back a screen here. One of the things that I want to say is it's just like using any other web page. You want to continue to scroll down, and that middle page will go in sort of chronological order from top to bottom as you work through the different items for class. Underneath the syllabus quiz, just a little ways down, I wanted to point out that your instructor has virtual office hours. What that means, and if you click on it, you'll see, as we saw just a second ago here, that your instructor will provide a welcome. They will provide you with their phone number, email address, and their virtual office hours, and the fact that you could actually reach out to student services if you want to. And down below, which we aren't really displaying in this, but we'll look at here in a minute, the instructor actually provides a biography saying basically where they're from, what their background is. I think the most important information that you can retain here is going to be the instructor's name, email address, telephone number, and office hours. So I strongly recommend that you, once you get that info, that you write it down somewhere, or for a lot of people, they could just add this to their cell phone list of contacts, so that if something happens, let's say, you know, unfortunately, maybe your computer internet goes out or something happens, that you have the ability to contact your instructor no matter what. You have their phone number saved somewhere and you know how to get a hold of them. Because as a student, it will be your responsibility to let them know if something has come up or you have a problem, even if your internet goes down. So that's a real important piece of this process, okay? The other thing that we wanted to talk about a little bit are the basics of the courses. We already talked about a little bit about navigating and scrolling down through the page. In my example here, I'm showing February 17th to the 23rd. That corresponds to our left navigation to say, this is the week that we're in. For you, it will be March 23rd, and I can't remember the exact end date. I think it might be the 28th or the 30th. Anyway, it will be listed there, and that's how you'll know the week that you're supposed to be in. There are some basics that I wanted to make you aware of so that you knew what to expect. First of all, your courses are 5 weeks long. Your course week always begins on a Monday and always ends on a Sunday. That means you have 7 full days to do your work, and the materials are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you to access. Your weekly work, when you get into the class, you will notice it can include things like readings, That could be from a PowerPoint or other type of discussion. Also, there would be potentially recorded video or other materials to look at, papers to write, or projects to submit. I'm going to put a quick hold up here and see if I can see Lynette. Lynette, I think you had raised your hand, so there's a chance that maybe you can't be heard. So let me go ahead and see what's going on here in our participant window. One moment. Go ahead, Lynette.
All right. Yes, I just wanted to mention one thing before we got too much further in with the
Sure.
syllabus quiz. So know that you have unlimited attempts to take the syllabus quiz. So don't be afraid that if you take it once and you missed a question, because I believe it's only about 5 or 6 questions, that you're stuck. So you have unlimited attempts. This is really important to take right away, though, because as Jennifer was showing you earlier, how she was accessing the first week of class, you cannot access your first week's assignments until you pass that syllabus quiz.
Excellent point. And
So,
actually, in my image here, I've had a little circle that says important. You must complete the below syllabus quiz prior to gaining access to week 1 materials.
so if
Excellent
you
point.
jump in and go, why can't I click on the first week? Know that you have to take that syllabus, pass the quiz, and then your first week will open.
Awesome. Thank you so much for making that note.
Yes, thanks, Jennifer.
Yep, no problem. So I'm going to move forward just a little bit to where we were, just to kind of give you an overview. As I said, classes are 5 weeks long. The week begins on Monday and ends on Sunday, so you have every day of the week to do your work. Now, there are going to be certain due dates for certain things. Sorry about that. The most important thing I can really stress to you would be to make sure that you're logging in and completing work on a regular basis. It's very easy to get behind if you're not checking into class every day or every other day to see what is due. Now, if you happen to print out your syllabus, you should be able to kind of keep track of that, even if you don't have your laptop or your computer on or open at the time. But you should start to see things with due dates in them. And I think in one of our future screenshots, you'll see that here. But just remember, there will be things to read. We use ebooks here, electronic textbooks. We also have recorded video or other materials for you to look at. I noticed in this particular classroom, we have an instructor who does some video recording, which is really cool. It's a great way to get to know your instructor. Also, there will be papers to write and maybe some projects to submit along the way. Also, you may be new to this, but there is something called a discussion post or discussion reply. That is actually a piece of homework. And here in the screenshot, and we'll get into this a little bit, but you can see that in week 1, there is a discussion question, and that is due by Wednesday. So there are going to be discussions. Discussions are where you, the faculty, and the other students talk about what you're learning in the class. And those things are graded, so they do need to be done. And then there are quizzes as well. So that's just some of the kinds of work that you'll be doing throughout your program. The other thing that I wanted to point out for new students, I know we have some students that are in Med A. In this particular example, I am using a week 1 from SS 100 because it's a very common class that students take. When you are finished with your syllabus quiz, you will then be able to navigate to week 1 by scrolling. And for this course, it will be from March 23rd to March 29th. A couple of the things that I started to point out earlier is that there will be PowerPoint chapters to review. There will be discussion questions to complete. There'll be writing assignments to do. That's like a paper. And then there are these readings here. These readings are short readings. So when you see chapter 1, chapter 2, and these other bits and pieces here, it doesn't mean you're reading necessarily in entire chapters. Some may be longer than others, but there are going to be readings and things to do. And within these, in this particular class, there are built-in assignments that you can do right within your textbook. So it's important that when you go in, you work on that specific question or assignment, And then in chapter 2 that you do that as well. Each link is going to take you to the appropriate location in the textbook. So once you're finished with each one, you'll come back out and click on the next one. And then of course I mentioned quizzes, and so this is kind of what a quiz looks like. If you look at the overview in terms of when things are due, you'll see that your discussion posts and discussion questions are due by Wednesday. You have to reply to other class members by Sunday. And then you'll be able to see some of these other items. Chapter 1 assignments are due Tuesday. Chapter 2 assignments are due Thursday. And then you'll notice that the quiz is due by Saturday. You don't have to do it on those days. It just has to be done by that day. And hopefully that makes sense to everybody. You'll get lots of practice. And we have a lot of help here for you. One of the
Jennifer,
things, yes, please go for it.
just real quick on the previous page, the
Yes.
one thing that you want to know is the discussion question, it locks after each week. So I always recommend going in and doing your discussion question as soon as you get in. Also, you are required to reply to other students. And if everyone waits until Wednesday at midnight to post their discussion question, no one has anyone to reply to.
Yep, that's correct.
So those will lock and you will not be able to get back into those once the week ends.
Thank you so much, Lynette. And this is one of the reasons why it is so very important that you get your work done by the specific due dates. You know, online classes are flexible, but they aren't designed for you to go in one day a week and try to complete everything. They really are set up for you to pace yourself throughout the week. And we give you some really, really good dates here for you to complete things by that should keep you going at a consistent pace and not overwhelm you. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the 2 types of digital resources or ebooks that you'll see in the classroom. Now in SS100, we were looking at just a minute ago, this is the icon or image you'll see next to the reading. And I'm going to go back here for a second, and I want you to see that that's what these look like. They're right here. That means that you're in a class that uses a e-textbook called Cengage, and it also is accompanied by what we call Mind Tap assignments. They are built right into the textbook. So it's important for you to be able to distinguish the two. The other book that we use, and I believe this is what is in Med A, is Vital Source. Again, it's just a textbook source, but both of these tools do require you to create an account or register for the very first time that you access them. The other key point here is that Vital Source does not have built-in assignments like the Cengage Mind Tap do. So what you'll notice about Med A is that your assignments will all just be in the classroom. They won't be part of the Vital Source book. All right. So again, we are covering a lot of things. A lot of this is new. We do provide you a lot of self-help resources online, but we have lots of people here to support you as well. One of the things that I think is important for you to know about is how to get help in and on your own, in your own time and when you can get to it. And one of the best ways to do that is to actually spend a little bit of time talking about what is available in our top navigation bar of the classroom. When you're at online.brooklinecollege.edu, whether you're logged in or not, so any of you could go look at this right now, is you'll notice that there's a home page, something called LRC, catalog, about us, tech support. I'm not going to go into every one of these things, but I am going to talk about some of the items that I think are most important to you as a brand new student coming in. I would encourage you, though, as you feel more comfortable, to go in and explore some of the additional resources that we offer here. Okay. First of all, as I wanted to say, the Learning Resource Center, which is the LRC that we saw in that top navigation, is actually the Learning Resource Center. That's what it stands for, and it is your online library. You have 24/7 access to this. That means if you work all day long and maybe you have an assignment you want to work on overnight, you can get into the library and look at online books, periodicals, journals, and more things. We also have what we call APA tutorials and assistance. Now, for those of you that maybe haven't been familiar with writing papers in a while like me, you might not know what APA is. APA is a writing style that is required for scholarly writing at many colleges and universities across the country. So APA is a format style for writing your papers. We have some great tutorials. We also have some assistance that our librarians provide for people that might not know exactly how to write APA style. So as I said, we do have librarians to help as well. That is one of the very first things you'll see in our top navigation menu. One of the other things I want to highlight is that our technical support is also up there. What you'll notice if you're in that page, if you click on technical support, is you will see first of all that the 800 number is provided. That 844-505-3992 is probably the quickest way for you to get help Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. The fastest way. And this is for things like resetting your password, or if you cannot get into Moodle, and remember that's our online.brooklinecollege.edu. If you can't get in, this might be a number that you would call. If you just can't remember your password, we know you have a password reset option by clicking on lost password. But if it's something else, these folks will be able to help you. Now, if it's outside of Monday through Friday hours, you're also going to have the option to email. When you get into the technical support portal, what you'll do is you'll simply click on the email and you'll fill out a contact form. It's that simple. The other item that I wanted to point out in our Moodle online classroom portal is that there's a link there for financial aid for the phone number and for the email address. Now, we do a lot of our financial aid work in a different portal, which we're not talking about today, but this is one of the quicker ways to get to the group if you have a question or a concern. And then probably one of my favorite things to talk about is our student services contacts. Now, many of you or most of you here maybe are online students or working with the Phoenix campus. It's possible we have some folks on from Albuquerque, Tempe, or Tucson, but we've got everybody's name listed here right now with the exception of Albuquerque. And then we're going to just refer you to talk to your admissions staff at this point in time until our student service contact is here. What we wanted to point out here is that we have phone numbers listed. But if for some reason you're not sure who your person is, definitely reach out to us in the chat here and we'll be able to get you in contact with the right person. We wanted to also point out that the hours of operation are on Arizona time, and that's Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and then Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I've also notated that we have a general email here at the bottom of the page as well. Now, because Lynette and Stephen are both on the line with us right now, I want to take a moment and stop and ask Lynette. Lynette, do you have anything that you want to add while we're looking at this right now? And that sounds like a no, so I think we're okay there. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. One of the things that is most
Sorry,
important.
Jennifer. I
Oh,
didn't
you're
realize I was still
okay.
on
You're okay.
mute.
You are okay. Do you have anything that you'd like to add about just general logistics, anything that you think is a good tip for Monday for when they get started?
Most important, if you are attending from a different campus, please make sure that you are reaching out to your specific student service advisor. The online student services does come to Steve and I. However, if everyone is using that, we get bombarded with emails, and we want to make sure that everyone gets help as soon as we can. So if you're reaching out to your specific campus advisor, that frees us up to help the all online students or Phoenix campus students.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'll go back on mute now. Thanks, Jennifer.
Fabulous. Oh, you're good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I did want to, again, we're about to wrap up here and take questions, but I did want to wrap up and say, you know, there are a lot of different keys to being successful in an online platform and taking online classes, but it's the same. It feels the same when you're starting a new class, even in a face-to-face situation. And so I'd ask, you know, what are you expecting out of this process? What are your expectations? I can tell you, having been an online student myself in the past, is you should expect both highs and lows. There are going to be some classes or some assignments that you absolutely love and you really feel engaged with and you enjoy, but there are going to be some courses that will be really tough or really challenge you. And we want to make sure that you are expecting it to be difficult sometimes or even frustrating. That's why the student services is here. It's why we have tech support. It's why we have tutoring. But definitely have your expectations that it's going to be challenging at certain times. I'd also like to ask you to think about what you believe in. What do you believe in general? Do you believe in yourself? Do you think you can succeed? Do you believe you can overcome a setback? Because what you believe is what becomes reality. And part of that is monitoring your attitude. It's so important to stay positive, especially now with all of the different things going on in the world. We're in very challenging times right now. It's easy to slip into negative thinking. Check in with yourself regularly. Probably a piece of advice I'd give you here is if you feel yourself feeling negative or feeling down, take a few minutes and write down what you're grateful for the day. It doesn't have to be about school. It can be something else. It can be your family. It can be, the nature outside. Just anything that you feel like you're grateful for to help have yourself more of a positive attitude. And then another thing that you have control over and is one of the biggest keys to success is to create positive habits. Success or failure is the culmination of your daily habits. Make it a habit to get up in the morning and spend a few minutes checking in on your class and seeing if there's anything that you need to do. Make it a habit to set aside a specific place in your home or a specific time to do your work. And some very practical keys to success would be just make sure you go to class, get in, log in frequently, make sure you set a personal schedule and set aside time to do your work. Make sure that you're putting in the amount of work that you need to be successful, whether that's in the classroom, going to the online library, using tutoring. Commit to this entire process and dig in. Make sure also that you engage with other students in class. Of all the people that you meet, you never know who might help you or that you might end up helping one day. And then, of course, ask for help. That's what we're here for. It isn't always easy to ask for help, and sometimes it's actually easier to just throw in the towel. But if you've done the first three things that we talked about, then definitely don't be afraid to ask us here at the campus or a friend for help during a rough patch at school. And finally, never ever quit. Persistence is the key to graduation. Many of us have had rocky roads to school. There aren't very many people that I know that went to school straight through their entire program without a hiccup here or there. And persistence is the key to graduation. Quitting is not an option. And if you've done the other things that we've talked about here, then there's a much better option than just walking away. Reach out to us for help. And finally, just a quick next steps before we get into our questions is that your class will appear midnight on March 22nd. So if you happen to be a night owl and you're up and it's just turning over to March 23rd, your class will appear. We want to make sure that you log into class on March 23rd, that you read your syllabus and complete your syllabus quiz, that you know how to get through downloading your books and beginning your week 1 work. If you can get through those few things, you will be off to a fabulous start, and just know that we're here to help you. I'd like to open up the floor, so to speak, to questions. I guess I'd like to ask Lynette and Steve, have we had any questions in the chat window?
No questions yet, Jen.
All righty then, we'll give it another second. Steve, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just to kind of reiterate what you were driving at is really the key to be successful in education in general, but really in the online environment is to be proactive. I think to a degree, every human being has that kind of attitude that, oh, that's a stupid question or a silly question, or I should know that. And my recommendation is to lose that attitude if you have it. There's no such thing, especially again in the online education world, as a silly or stupid question. Every question is important. So please feel free to reach out and ask. We are all here to support you. You can email, you can phone call. And if you're not getting a question fast enough, reach out to the other one. If you ask me a question and I don't get back with you, give Lynette a call and vice versa. We just want to make sure we're here to support our students.
That's very well said. Thank you, Steve. Anybody
And
else? Go ahead. Sorry.
this is oh, that's okay, Jennifer. This is Lynette. I also want to encourage you to reach out early. So many of us, like Steve mentioned, have the mindset of I should know how to do this, or I'm really proud of everyone when they sit there and go, okay, I'm going to figure this out on my own. However, oftentimes that leads to you getting more and more behind and more frustrated. And then by the time we do hear from you, things have gotten really out of hand, and it's harder to help you rein it back in. So please do not be afraid if you are in your class and you look at something and go, I truly have no clue what I'm doing here. That is okay. Reach out, give us a call. Many times we can help you in a couple of seconds versus you taking 3 hours out of your day to try to figure it out.
Very well said. Thank you for that as well. I have actually, since we didn't have any questions, I've actually brought up the page, and I'd mentioned a few things. LRC was one. That's our library. It's our Learning Resource Center. And you'll notice here that sometimes you'll be briefly or momentarily kicked back out of the system. It's easy to get right back in. And the library is really actually very easy to navigate. It's set up very similar to our classes, where you can actually just scroll through and you can see all the different databases that we use for our academic writing. And then if you look below that, there's actually different office hours based on the campus that a student is in. So you can kind of take a look at that as well. But I thought that was important to kind of show folks. That's LRC in the corner. We also highlighted technical support. Again, the phone number's there. You could click on chat here if you wanted to, but if you wanted to see all of your options for the support, it's right here. We talked a little bit about emailing. You just click on an email to submit a request. That's how you get in touch with tech support over the weekend. You do have chat. As you can see, the Zendesk chat keeps popping up here. And then, of course, there's the phone number. So lots of ways to get help here from a technical support perspective. We talked briefly about the financial number, the email address, and then all of our student services folks are listed here. The hours of operation are here. There's actually a special nursing line that's in the system, and then online student services email is here. There's a second resource area here. A lot of it's APA related. We talked about APA in the library, but there are additional resources here, and also how to deal with stress. And then we're going to skip the advising tab right now because that's kind of under construction, so to speak, I would say. But yes, I mean, that's kind of some of those additional support stuff up there for you. And then over here, you can see you can navigate through this. I'm actually going to click on home. And that takes me back to my course homepage. And then bear with me 1 second. I'm going to actually go into a class for you. And we're going to take a look at SS100 just because that's the most common class that people take when starting some of our degree programs. I'm actually going to select a class that it was quite recently, so in 2020, I'm going to look at 217 here. So as I said, basic navigation is pretty easy. Once you're in your class, you want to look for that course summary at the top. And then you'll notice that there is the syllabus here. As I said, you could simply click on it. It opens up. You can scroll through and read it on the screen. Me personally, I'm a little bit of an older woman. I like to actually have stuff printed out. So I can click on the download feature, or I could simply print the item if I wanted to. And then I can actually navigate with my back button and actually go to the syllabus quiz. I'm not going to click on it right now because we want you to take the time to do that for yourselves. And then we talked about the instructor virtual office hours, which are here. Remember, the most important thing to do is to grab that phone number and that email address to get in contact with your instructor. You can read through their bio as you wish, but most important thing is their contact information should something come up for you. And then I scroll down a bit, and remember we said that information wouldn't be available because that syllabus quiz has to be taken. So that gives you a basic idea. There's lots of ways to navigate in here. And in the future, you're going to want to make sure you look at your grades. So just in general, lots of great things available in the class for you. And I think if we don't have any other questions, I guess maybe we are finished. I don't know if there is anything else for now. Steve, are you seeing anything in the questions?
No, not yet. No questions.
Well, that is okay. I want to say thank you to everybody for being here. We appreciate you. And if for some reason you would like to attend again, we are scheduling some sessions here on Monday. And that may be helpful to you because you will actually have access to your class at that point. So I want to thank everyone for being here, and do not hesitate to reach out to either your admissions person if you're brand new, if you don't know who your academics support is from our student services group. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you on Monday, and I wish everybody a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.